Welcome to the Love Your Life and Yourself podcast, the weekly show where science meets soul and mom chaos meets mind mastery. You're not just a mom. You're a woman with dreams, a career, a body that needs care, and a soul that craves more. This podcast is your permission slip to stop surviving and start thriving in motherhood, health, career, and stress resilience. I'm your host, Dr. Ashley Rath, and every week we bring you actionable insights and transformative conversations to help you create a life you truly love. From evidence-based wellness strategies to authentic self-discovery, we'll explore what it takes to thrive through expert interviews and real unfiltered stories. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey friends, it's Ashley, and today we're talking about something I wish every woman knew before she started Googling hormone imbalances, night sweats, hot flashes, weight gain. I want everyone to know about the hormone pyramid. This framework really explains why you can be doing all the things, eating clean, taking supplements, and maybe even some HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and still not feeling like yourself. Here's the truth. Your body has this priority list. And if the bottom isn't solid, well, the top always crumbles, just like a foundation of a house. So, hormone balance actually has to start at the foundation, not the top. So, by the end of today's episode, you're going to understand how the pyramid works, and more importantly, what you can start doing right now to rebuild the foundation. Okay, what's at the base of the triangle? What's in the middle? And what's in the top? So, at the base, at the foundation of the pyramid sits the adrenals. These are tiny little glands that do a big job. They pump out cortisol, adrenaline, and DHEA, and they interact with insulin and oxytocin. So, really, they're your survival hormones. They manage stress, they respond to blood sugar, blood pressure, and really have like your sense of safety. So, these little glands, they sit on top of the kidneys. And when your brain tells them, they pump out all of these stress hormones, norepinephrine, epinephrine, cortisol, etc. So really think of them as the foundation of a house. If the foundation cracks, the walls upstairs are going to start to lean and really nothing else feels stable. You might start to feel if your foundation is cracking that you wake up at 3 p.m. Sorry, not wake up, but you crash at 3 p.m. or you wake up in the middle of the night just wired and you possibly, no matter how much sleep you get, are tired. You have weight gain, unexplained weight gain. You haven't changed your diet or your exercise. You might be snapping at your kids or your spouse over something really small. You are feeling more mentally emotional dysregulation. And really, there seems to be just this disconnect of who you were prior to this. It's like, gosh, I really wish I had myself back. And that all comes from when the adrenals or cortisol is having an effect on the rest of the pyramid upwards. The middle of the pyramid is really the thyroid and all the mother hormones. And this includes pregnenolone and DHEA. So, your thyroid, think of it as the thermostat. It really is going to set your metabolism, your energy, and your digestion, and even your hair and nails. But when cortisol is high, your thyroid actually gets suppressed. It's not broken, it's just being told to power down. And there's some things that really can disrupt this middle. Alcohol is one, excessive caffeine, um, a highly processed diet, long term medication, chronic infections, vitamin insufficiencies, mineral insufficiencies, inflammation. There's a whole host that can throw this off. Um, so that's why sometimes when women come in, their labs can look normal, but they still feel exhausted, foggy, constipated, cold, etc. Then, in this same level of the pyramid, there are these mother hormones. They're called pregnenolone and DHEA. These are really kind of the raw materials of sex hormones, which we're going to get to at the peak of the pyramid. So instead of creating progesterone and estrogen to keep your cycle smooth and your mood stable, your body, when it is in a stress mode, it is in this survival mechanism. And now they start making more stress hormones like cortisol instead of that progesterone and estrogen. The top of the pyramid, this is really the sex and regulatory hormones. Now, most people want to start here. Most people, when they go in, they say, my hormones are wonky. This is estrogen, melatonin, progesterone, testosterone, and really kind of those end of the level thyroid hormones. So, in reality, these are kind of luxury hormones. The body will only invest in them when the base, cortisol, insulin, etc., thyroid in the middle, pregnenolone and DHEA, are stable. So if your adrenals are struggling and your thyroid is downregulated, your body will not prioritize fertility, libido, glowing skin, energy. It will steal from the top to keep the bottom running. And that's why so many women in perimenopause or women that are under high stress say, I feel like I'm falling apart. Their labs, quote, are normal, some of them. Estrogen's normal, progesterone's normal, thyroid's normal when they go in, but they still feel crappy. Why is that? You see, the big picture here is you can't fix just the top by ignoring the bottom. We live in a culture that likes quick fixes. We're told to start with birth control, hormone replacement therapy, or trendy supplements. But unless the foundation, your nervous system regulation, your stress response regulation, is in the right order, the rest of the top of the pyramid will not fall into place. So you have the foundation, adrenals, cortisol, insulin, oxytocin. These are survival hormones. Middle, thyroid, pregnenolone, DHEA, the thermostat that is building these building blocks. And then the top, this is estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, melatonin. These are the thriving hormones. And when stress and survival hormones at the base are unstable, it cascades, disrupting the entire thyroid and sex hormones. And then what happens is there really is no balance. So that's when people come in and say my hormones are imbalanced, which is true, but we actually have to start at the bottom. So, what do we do about this? Right? How do we actually start to rebuild the foundation? You see, the foundation gets thrown off by a lot of different things. Really, the simple answer is stress. Your body is not adapting to stress the way we were meant to. It's not integrating it the way we were meant to. You see, the thing is, we have all sorts of different stressors. We have mental emotional stressors. We have physical stressors. We have chemical stressors. We have sleep issues. We eat crappy. We have high carb sugar diets. We undereat sometimes. We have a very sedentary life. We don't drink enough water. We are exposed to way too much blue light. We live in more isolation. We're not getting together with friends or being social as much, or we're fasting too much. So these whole hosts of stressors, work, relationships, finances, etc. What happens is it starts to shake the foundation a little bit. You see, the thing is, we have to start looking at our stressors and start to become aware of where they're coming from. Are you rushing too much? Are you not getting enough sleep? Are you eating crappy and your blood sugar's all over the place? Are you in such a stress mode from work, from your relationships at home, from running kids to kids, from a tight schedule, from essentially any sort of mental, emotional, or physical stressor in your life? How is that working? We all have stressors. That's the thing. It's not that we can get rid of stressors. However, if we are not integrating and having a healthy stress response, that foundation is going to start to crumble. So, what do we do? How do we start balancing these stress responses? Well, honestly, it comes back to pretty simple things. We need to start prioritizing sleep. We need to stabilize the blood sugar, support the nervous system, feed the thyroid and the body what it needs, and move, right? These are simple things. But the thing is, we actually have to do them, right? Some really neat things that I know these are like a whole laundry list of things you can do, but some of the things that I really recommend for people is we have to start by picking one. We can't use this shotgun approach where we're just going to, shoot out this bird shot and hopefully we get something with all the pellets going everywhere. We have to kind of think of it as like a slug. I'm a country girl, so I'm giving you some like hunting analogies here. But one point, how can we improve one thing? So, is it in your protein intake? Maybe it is less coffee. Maybe it is more sun exposure. Maybe it's better sleep or cold exposure. So, cold immersion therapy, breath work, or journaling or therapy. So, what is your one thing that you can start doing? Because obviously, we can all do all of them. However, when people try to do all the things all at once, it's not sustainable and it doesn't last long. So, what are your one things that you can start doing to start to stabilize this foundation of the stress response? And I'm telling you, in our office, we actually test for cortisol. So, we have at home saliva kits that we can send anywhere in the United States and Canada. And so, if you're listening and you're not local, you're like, oh, great, how can I do this? So, we can actually test and help you figure out, is your cortisol regulated? How is the DHEA and the pregnenolone? And how is that metabolic function working to be able to help the foundation of that triangle before we even start to look at those hormones upstream? Because most people, when they come in and they're like, "Oh, I have this symptom, this symptom, this symptom. I have weight gain, low libido." Um, I can't sleep at night, or I wake up tired all the time. My mood is all over the place, hot flashes, night sweats, etc. They have all of these symptoms and they go to their doctor and their hormones are, quote, normal, or maybe they're off a little bit. But what do we do about it? That's where we have to start at the base, figure out what the stress response is doing and how that's affecting all the other hormones upstream. Because I'm telling you, time and time after again, as we correct and fix and regulate the base of the triangle, all those other hormones at the top of the pyramid start working themselves out. Now there is occasional where you need more support in the uppers, but we have to start at the base to be able to truly have root health from the inside out. Not pretend, not treating symptoms, but true health from the root cause. So let's recap. Hormone balance starts at the balance, adrenals first, thyroid, pregnenolone, DHEA middle, sex hormones at the top. How do we do this? So we have to start by balancing cortisol, insulin, etc. Next, in the middle, how do we start again balancing the thyroid? So if our foundation is healthy, what possibly is disrupting the thyroid, which I mentioned earlier, alcohol, caffeine, crappy food. And these stressors will affect all three levels. So if your cortisol is regulated, now we have to look at possible vitamin mineral deficiencies. For example, the thyroid needs selenium, zinc, iodine, magnesium, electrolytes. Think like high nutrient dense foods, etc. Other things that can support are sauna, lymphatic massage, anti-inflammatory diet, which we kind of talked about already, rebounding, etc. Now, when you start at the top and not at the foundation, you're going to look at all the symptoms at the top, which we had mentioned some: cold, body temp dysregulation, body compensation, metabolic dysfunction, sleep wake rhythms, energy, libido, etc. Which those hormones like estrogen, melatonin, progesterone, testosterone, etc., those sex hormones absolutely will affect those symptoms. However, we to have an effect on the symptoms, we have to come back down to the base. So my action item for you this week is maybe you start a bedtime routine. Maybe you say no to an extracurricular. Start small. We have to start regulating the cortisol. And if you're like, I feel like I know what to do, but I don't know, I need some help and support, reach out to us. We have an incredible functional med hormone balancing protocol that we do in our office and have helped many, many women through these steps to get healthier and lose weight and have energy again. So reach out to us if that is something that you want. We also do free hormone consults. So in my link on Instagram, or I can leave it here in the show notes too, there's a link for a free 15-minute discovery call that I'd love to hop on with you. So um, if you like this, or you know a woman that needs to hear this and is struggling with her hormones, share it. I'd love to spread the word that we need to start at the base and not at the top of the pyramid. With all the love. Thanks for tuning in to Love Your Life and Yourself. I hope today's episode gave you one more tool or one more truth to help you thrive in your health, happiness, and resilience. Remember, loving yourself isn't selfish, it's leadership. And it's the foundation for building a life that actually feels like yours. If this spoke to you, hit that follow button, leave a review, and send it to a friend who needs to hear it. And if you want to dive even deeper, grab a copy of my #1 best-selling book, Love Your Life and Yourself. It's the heart behind this podcast, and it's helped thousands of women step into a life they actually love. You can find it at drashleyrath.com or through the link in the show notes. Until next time, take care of you and keep choosing to love your life and yourself.